Y'all, this week we were supposed to be talking about masking, but here we are, due to current events, we are talking about Tylenol and autism. So I'm pretty sure that you heard the news that President Trump recently claimed that Tylenol could be linked to autism. Why we keep giving people microphones and bad information is something that I will absolutely never understand. Now, the one consistent piece of information that has been around since the discovery of autism is that it must be the mom's fault. And so this is not a surprise that, again, we're blaming the mom. So let's talk about what this means. Now, this announcement has sparked a lot of headlines, a lot of confusion, and even more anxiety for parents and parents-to-be. So today, we're going to slow down, we're going to look at what's actually happening and what the science really says, and then we're going to talk about how can we separate fear from facts. Hi, I'm Summer. I'm a leadership keynote speaker. I'm perimenopausal, and dagnabbit, I am just over it this week, so we are getting the unfiltered version. Now, when I'm not speaking about leadership, then I am researching neurodivergence in the workplace for my PhD,
hence why I am so frustrated.
So let's talk about Tylenol and autism. On September 22nd, President Trump announced that pregnant women and parents should avoid Tylenol, also known as acetaminophen. Yes, that's correct, acetaminophen. He tied it to autism, ADHD, and other neurological concerns, and his administration even announced that the FDA would begin updating labels with possible warnings. Now, when a sitting president says something like this, people listen. And the problem is, listening is not the same as evidence. And so we know this, and we're going to talk about correlation versus causation. So the basics of correlation versus causation is when you hear people talking about Tylenol and autism, they're talking about the fact that there is a correlation. Okay, a correlation does not mean that one causes the other. It simply means that two things show up together. So here's an example of correlation. When more ice cream is sold, more drownings occur. Now, does this mean that ice cream causes the drowning? No. The real link is hot weather. When it's hot, more people buy ice cream and more people go swimming. Swimming increases drowning risk. Ice cream is innocent. It's just tagging along for the ride. The same thing is happening here. Pregnant women, pretty much the only thing that pregnant women can take is Tylenol. So it's not absurd to think that maybe women who have had children with autism, when this study was being done, took Tylenol when they were pregnant, because almost all of us took Tylenol when we were pregnant. Now, Tylenol is used for fevers, infections, pains, etc. These things could be the real drivers, not the Tylenol itself. If you ask me, these aren't the real drivers. But again, I've not done the research, so I am not going to spout fact. I'm going to spout opinion. That is my opinion. Now, the research here that President Trump is citing is weak for a few reasons. Most of what he's talking about is observational. That means researchers look back and said, who took Tylenol? Who was later diagnosed with autism? But they can't control for any of the other factors. And again, as we've already discussed, if you are pregnant, the only thing you can take is Tylenol, so chances are you took the Tylenol. Now, the findings are also inconsistent. Some studies show an association, others do not. Again, they show a correlation, not a causation. So remember, ice cream and drowning is a correlation. Causation means this causes this. Their studies have not shown a cause and effect. No study has established a clear cause and effect. And here's some perspective. Autism was first described in the 1940s, long before Tylenol existed. If Tylenol were the cause, we wouldn't see autism cases predating it. And let's talk about lawsuits. Over the past few years, since this research has started being mumbled, thousands of parents have sued Johnson & Johnson and other companies claiming that acetaminophen, see, President Trump's really not that hard, acetaminophen, caused their children's autism or ADHD. And here's what happened. A federal judge was like,
maybe not.
And the judge dismissed the case because the evidence wasn't strong enough. The judge noted that the plaintiff's experts were cherry-picking studies, they were ignoring conflicting data, and they were stretching the findings beyond what the science actually supported. So in plain English, the science wasn't there, and the court wasn't willing to say otherwise. So why are we talking about this? Because fear is powerful. When authority figures make sweeping claims, parents panic. I cannot tell you how many autism groups that I'm in where moms are thinking and asking, oh God, did I do this to my children? Pregnant women wonder if the only safe option that we have for pain or fever is suddenly unsafe. Parents may second guess past choices and carry unnecessary guilt on top of all of the other guilt that they are carrying. And here's the truth. For decades, acetaminophen has been one of the few medications considered safe during pregnancy. And it doesn't mean that it's risk-free, nothing is. But it does mean that the current evidence doesn't support banning it or treating it as a confirmed cause of autism. Now, the FDA will likely add cautious language to Tylenol labels noting that research is ongoing. That's not the same thing as proof, it's more like a yellow caution light. Slow down, pay attention, but don't assume danger is guaranteed. And I really want to know where this more research is coming since they've shut down all of the research grants, but that's another thing. Now, for parents and parents-to-be, the best move is to talk with your doctor before making decisions. For all of us, the bigger lesson is this. Don't mistake headlines for truth. And remember ice cream and drowning? Just because two things show up together does not mean that one caused the other. So next time that you see a scary headline about Tylenol and autism, take a breath. Look for the evidence. Ask, is this correlation where it's just two things showing up together? Or is it causation, meaning this causes this? And remember, science is a process. It moves forward carefully, not with sweeping declarations. If this message lit a spark, stick around. Every week I share insights from the stage, lessons in leadership, humanity, and the kind of change that actually sticks. Whether you're leading a team or leading yourself, I promise to keep it real, relevant, and maybe even a little bit rebellious. And until next time, don't forget, ask the questions, do the research, discover it for yourself. Because leadership starts with you. And you have got this. I'll see you next week.